Hey everyone, it's Warriors NRL Fanatics here. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all having a great afternoon. Look, before getting into the live stream, everyone please make sure you give this live stream a like. Click the thumbs up button on the live stream. And if you are a new viewer to the YouTube channel and you haven't done so already, please make sure you don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribing to the channel really shows your support for all the content that I do, and it's absolutely free as well. It all helps the algorithm. We want to push this channel up to the 3K subscribe mark, so if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, like the live stream, share the live stream, and also don't forget as well to click the bell so you are notified when I upload any new content on the channel next. So at the moment, we'll wait for a few more viewers to join in, but what I'm gonna do is gonna react to the Warriors team list to take on the West Tigers this week, and give my overall thoughts on the team as well. We'll have a look at the Tigers team, and also I've got a special guest tomorrow on the YouTube channel joining me, Rio from Warriors Fan TV. We're gonna preview the Warriors Tigers game tomorrow night on the channel, but yeah, don't forget, interact in the chat there if you guys haven't. Make sure you'd like the live stream, subscribe to the channel if you are a new viewer, and make sure you like, share, and do all the following. And make sure you do let me know in the chat if you can hear me, if you can see me, if the audios and the visuals are clear, just so I know that the stream is up and running and is going through on YouTube, because sometimes YouTube doesn't quite work and it doesn't get the video and the stream out. So if you are here, please let me know in the live chat. Comment in the live chat if you haven't done so already, guys. Interact, give your comments, opinions, and of course I'll be giving my NRL tips for round 21 as well. This week's games are massive. You know, every game is massive from here on to the point of the season, with a lot of teams trying to get themselves in that top 8 position on the in the finals, trying to get into the finals position. So hello to Greg in the chat. Hope you're doing well, Greg. Good to see you in the chat. I'm sure we'll get a few more viewers as the chat stream comes around. Of course, you guys know that we did take on the Raiders last week down there in Canberra. It was a tough result. Look, I know a lot of people have been pretty critical of the goal kicking. I will say this, that I think Chanel Harris-Davidas been getting some harsh comments, and I don't think they've been warranted, in my opinion. So, look, a lot of people, we can sit here and we can blame the goal kicking for that result last week, but that wasn't the only reason we lost that game. You know, it wasn't the only reason we could not get the result. So, look, I mean, there was no doubting the efforts of the boys in that second half. We just fell short, right? We scored 4 tries. Raiders scored 3. You know, we could have won that game. You know, albeit now that the next couple of games to this point of the season now are pretty much playing for pride. You know, we can't make the finals. This season's a complete write-off, and yeah, it's a shame, right? It's a shame that we're in a position like this, because, you know, it felt like throughout the start of the season we were a team that should be contending for top 4, should be in the finals, but we're sitting in 14th position at the moment. So it's been a bit of a downfall. You know, it has been a downfall year. We've had injuries. We had plays, you know, not combining very well. Combinations haven't been gelling. You know, defense hasn't been great this year. Obviously, that's been the real concern. We struggled to score points at the start of the season. We've scored points a lot lately, but, you know, and a lot of our games, in the close games, we're just not getting the right play and execution like we did last year, which was completely opposite, where we were, you know, finding the points. We were defending our line pretty well. And that's why we're not, you know, that's why this year we are not where we are at the moment, because we're not doing exactly what we did last season. So, hello to Pre-Game Fallon. I think Webby will put Setu for Ed Cossey and Bunty for Jackson. And also Ryan's just saying he's still proud of how the boys played with the injuries. Yeah, look, I'm no doubt about it. Proud of the efforts. Obviously gutted, disappointed. But I wouldn't say I was frustrated more so with that game into previous games this year, because I felt our efforts were there, but obviously our efforts against the Titans was a complete different story altogether. So we've actually come a long way since that Titans game. But yeah, again, we're just not getting the points right. We're not getting the results. And, just looking at this round 21 fixture, look, for me, this is a game where we want to get a win, obviously. We want to get a win at home at Mount Smart, at Go Media Mount Smart Stadium. We're definitely not playing for anything right now. We're just playing for a bit of pride to finish the season off on a good note. Hopefully avoid the bottom four as well, because I personally don't think we're a bottom four side, and I don't think we deserve to finish near the bottom four. So I think our best position at the back end of the season is probably going to be finishing around 9th, 10th, around that position on the ladder at the end of the year. So, it's a shame to be saying that, but look, just looking at the bigger picture of the season, consistency-wise, probably would say we don't deserve to be a finals team. Let's be quite frank. But if we look at next year, obviously we got Fisher Harris coming to the side as well. So, it's about blooding these younger players moving forward, in my opinion. I think looking at the likes of your Myla Graham Talfoas, your Jacob Labens, Uzziah Maus, all those players, just giving them game minutes and opportunities at this back end of the season to maybe have a crack at first grade in 2025, which, is the biggest thing for me. But, so just looking at the team list. So, guys, don't forget, like this live stream if you haven't done so already. This is my team reaction live stream to the Warriors-Tigers game. And, of course, I'm going to be going through my NRL tips later on with the other games. Some huge games coming up, like I said there. Round 21, it is the back end of the season. Some crucial games coming up for either teams. So, yeah, unfortunately for the Warriors, we're not in that position where we could make the finals because, that Raiders game for me was a must-win game. I felt like if we wanted to make a late run for the finals, we had to win that game, and we came up short. So, basically, in saying that, now every game from the here point for the Warriors is just about finishing the year on a high, and hopefully a better 2025 season for the Warriors as a whole. But yeah, so the Warriors-Tigers team list have been announced. So, guys, don't forget to like the live stream if you haven't done so already. Make sure you like the live stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're a new viewer or a returning viewer and haven't done so already, it's absolutely free. And, we're trying to get to 3K subscribers. And at the moment, just help boost the algorithm of the channel, help the channel to grow. Subscribing is absolutely much appreciated as we try and get to 3K subscribers. And hopefully we can get there real soon. But yeah, Warriors team list. So fullback RTS been named at fullback this week. So RTS comes into the fullback spot. So like he did during the game against the Raiders, he moves to the fullback spot for Taine Tuapiki, who had to come off with a failed HIA. So he's at fullback this week. Dallin Watini-Zelezniak is on the wing, and Ali Leotawa in the centres, with returning into the side is Mwala Graham Talfa in the other centre position, Edward Coasty on the other wing, 5'8" Chanel Harris-Tavita, halfback of Tamari Martin. Adam Vanua-Blake is the prop, Wade Egan hooker, Mitchell Barnett prop, and Murata Niukore in the second row with Kurt Capewell. And Dylan Walker is the 13. So bench of Freddie Lussick, Jackson Ford, Jazz Tavanga, and good to see young Leka Haliasima also on the bench again after being on the bench against the Canberra Raiders last week. It's good to see him in the 17. And the reserves of Tom Ale, Bunty Afoa, Dimitri Sifakola, Setutu, and Ben Farr. And of course, outs of Adam Pompey and Taine Tuapiki. Of course, Roger moving to the wing there to cover for Taine Tuapiki last week, and Esmond Kossi coming onto the wing, and Moala Graham Talfa in the centres in place of Adam Pompey, who's picked up a knee injury, which I think will keep him sidelined for the rest of the season. So apparently he's been ruled out for the season there. But Greg is just saying here, we need to get some young players in some of these games. Looking forward to Friday night game. Let's get a win on Friday night. Yeah, we let's just see what happens. But this game against the Tigers, we really, reality is we should be winning this game against the Tigers at home. Albeit, look, the Tigers can probably be a real dangerous team come Friday night because, of course, they're in the same picture and boat as us. They've got nothing to play for. but pride in the jersey as well. But they also want to avoid the wooden spoon as well, as they're sitting near the wooden spoon position on the ladder at the current stage at the moment. Hello to Jason Hart in the chat. He said, hey guys, from Waimata. How's it going, Jason Hart? Good to see you. And he's saying shows how important that Roger is. Yeah, absolutely. And Roger can cover that fullback spot. He's played on the wing, and now he is on at fullback because, our problems with fullback this year is that CNK has been out. We've had Tane there, but Tane is out. So, it's been a bit of an issue for us this year. You look at our spine. We haven't had a full shoot side on the field in terms of our spine. We've had CNK off. We've had Johnson off the field. We've had Tamari Martin, she has a halves pairing as well. So, we've had a lot of changes to the side in our back line throughout the whole season. We haven't had that consistency. So it's good to see some of these younger players get a chance, like your Ali's, like your Moala Graham Talfas, and Ed Cozy's as well, coming back into the side. So excited to see what those younger players can do, albeit there's nothing really left to play for now. So it's about seeing the development of some of these younger players coming in and getting their opportunity to show, their best footy as well. So yeah, look at the back line, of course. The back line is going to be really interesting to see how that all goes against the Tigers as well. Obviously, we get to see is Roger at the fullback spot. And it'll be exciting nonetheless, because I think we'll see a bit more. Of course, we'll see a bit more of Roger as well, which we haven't seen throughout the season as well. So, yeah, Jason is also saying here, a positive is possible that new players from the lower grades are great. They're getting a chance means up. That means great means great for 2025. Yeah, and you look at our young teams. You look at our Jersey Flegg Cup side. You look at our Harold Maths. You look at our all our pathways teams. We've got some great talent coming through the pathways system as well. So that is really crucial and really important. Looking at the Warriors depth moving forward as a whole, going into 2025. So, you look at our New South Wales Cup side, and our New South Wales Cup side are doing very well at the moment. So just an update on how they're going. They're currently sitting in third on the New South Wales Cup ladder, and there are 6 games remaining in the competition with the top 5 system. So they're in a good position as well, and they've got some good players playing that team. Your likes of your Luke Hansons as well, who's been playing great footy. As well as you've got also all these younger forwards coming through with your Letta Halisimas, Jacob Labens, and your Harry Durbins. Shout out to those players as well. So, it's a good signs for the future for the Warriors, considering the younger players coming through the system. Yeah, obviously you see Penrith as a prime example of that, with them having the system that they've had over the years and being able to get them into first grade and show their real potential as well. So, yeah. And Jason is also saying need to keep Shaun Johnson in the club to help mentor the new half players. Yeah, and look, I know some people are being pretty critical of SJ this year, and if you actually go and watch a podcast that Shaun Johnson did, I think he started up a sports podcast on YouTube, and so go and check that out. But I think that was actually a real great listen. So yeah, go and give that a watch. But he describes how things have been going this year for him as a whole. But I think Shaun, if you look at it, pretty ranked. He's obviously getting a lot older now. He's got a few injuries and niggles. But if you have him around in the background, look, say if he's there for 2 more years, and then put him in a coaching capacity at the club around the background, it would be not bad for some of those younger players to have a mentor with Shaun around the background as well if he does end up retiring real soon. But, it all depends. Does he want to hang around for the next couple of years, or does he feel like his time is right to, let some of the young players take suit? It all depends on what Shaun feels, right? But, you look at, obviously, people will look at the Raiders game. Some will say that Shaun, maybe if we've had Shaun playing, he would have got all those kicks. But, in reality, he says, It is, a tough position, of course. Being a younger player like Chanel was, to be in a position where he missed all those kicks, and it was a tough night for him. But I feel like a lot of people, if you look at some of the comments, I think we've taken it out of proportion, right? They're taking it too far. But yeah, Jason's saying here, I can imagine the club will be making players take new kicking practices. Yeah, and look, don't get me wrong. Look, I think if you've got to be quite frank. Yes, if you're a first grade A, you got to get those kicks. Don't get me wrong there, but obviously training and practice, it comes with learning, right? It comes with learning, and she's been goal kicking throughout the whole season. Not every game, but he's not our first choice goal kick as well. So he hasn't done a bad job when he was in that position, right? But he had one off game, and I think he'll be a lot better this week, right, against the Tigers. If he does get that opportunity again to goal kick, we'll see a lot more of an improved CHT in that area. But it's a one-off game, right? He makes mistakes. We younger players can learn, but it can happen, right? It can happen. And I'm sure a bit of training and hard work, and I'm sure he'll step up when it matters, this week in the game against the Tigers, and get those kicks. But yeah, so look at the Warriors team. Look as a whole, I'm just really excited for the side we picked this week. Leka Haliasima as well. Young Leka has had a very, very interesting start to his first grade experience. Obviously, he had a great game against the Dogs, the Raiders. It was all right. I mean, some people were pretty critical of him, but I think he wasn't too bad against the Raiders, in my opinion. So I'm very excited with the Warriors team we named this week, and just look at the talent the young talent we've got. Get to see the likes of those players on the field, man. I'm really keen for it for sure. But as for the Tigers, let's look at the Tigers team. So, fullback Jareen Buller there. So some interesting names. You've got Stafford Toa, Charlie Staines. You got young Lachlan Galvin as well. Very impressed with Lachlan Galvin this year. Also look at Stefano Tukamanu. You've got Coruscant back into the side, so that's a big in for the Tigers. Episode Coruscant. It's a young Tigers team, right? And the Tigers, look, first year under Benji Marshall, not been easy, right, as a whole. But the Tigers, if you look at their team and you look at their future ahead, I think there are positive signs for the Tigers. It might not look like it on the field this year, but I think there are positive signs for the future with these younger players that they've got. Obviously, loss of Adam Dewey. So Adam Dewey's out actually, but Stafford Toa's in the centres, and Letu Fano takes over the form from Aiden Caesar suspended, which is another blow for the Tigers at halfback there. But Coruscant is back in the mix, with Taylor and the Silver on the bench as well. So yeah, look, regards to the Tigers team, obviously I probably haven't watched a lot of the Tigers this year, but when I have watched the Tigers, yeah, no, it's been tough. Obviously, it's been tough. Look at it from the bright side for the Tigers fans. Look, Benji's first year. You got to give Benji a bit of time. Be patient with him, and I know it's not easy as a Tigers fan because you guys have been suffering quite a lot. But look, I think the Tigers in the future, maybe in the future years, they could be up there in the finals. And they're going to get Jerome Loy there next year, so that will be huge for the Tigers as a signing for 2025. But I think the future is definitely bright for the Tigers. But looking at that squad, they've got some talent, right? They've got some talented players there. They've got some recognisable names, some new names that I haven't quite heard of before, but the likes of the Lachlan Galvin's there. Big future. Then you've got your Jareen Bullers and Stafford Toas as well. Coruscant, experience of Coruscant there in the mix as well. But yeah, really interested to see what Benji does with his Tigers over the next few years as well. And Jason says here, yeah, Tigers have Loy next season, and they definitely do. And he is going to probably give them a bit more, into their halves next season as a whole. So it'll be interesting to see how they go next year and the next couple of years. But Benji needs to be given time, right? You can't. If he doesn't do well next year, you can't sack him either next year. You've got to give him the time because he's an inexperienced coach. He's not coached in NRL before, but obviously it's been a tough inclusion this year for Benji. But he's trying his hardest, right, with the young players he's got on the team he's got. So, and pre-game Fallon, hello to pre-game Fallon again in the chat there. I've missed your question, so I'm going to answer it. He's pre-game Fallon's asking, you think Walker will be the kicker or CHT again? Look, I think pre-game Fallon, I think you've got to give CHT another opportunity. You've got to give him another chance to take on that goal-kicking role. And look, I know some people were pretty critical last week, but you got to give him a chance, right? It's a one-off game. It happens. But look, I think you've got to give CHT another opportunity to take that goal-kicking reign. And look, if he does have a few misses during the game, then yes, maybe change it up. Definitely change it up. But I think you got to give him another chance. And I think he probably deserves another crack as the goal kicker for me. And Jason's also saying positives from new players from low grades getting a chance. I can imagine the club will be making players, and I reckon. Yeah, I meant the other Eels players that are not stepping up. Tigers have Lua next season. And hello to Tahi, bro. Good to see you in the chat. He says, pump the likes button, team. Yeah, like the live stream, everyone. And don't forget, guys, to go and check out Ash and Wazup's show afterwards. I think it's at 6 o'clock for me in Australia. So, yeah, if you guys go and check that out on Wazup TV. They're doing a show, of course, for their Warriors content. So go and check that out if you haven't already. But that's just my general take on the Warriors team list, my general take on the Tigers team list. Of course, if you guys don't know already, I am going to be going live again on YouTube tomorrow. I'm going to go live on the channel. Special guest from Warriors Fan TV, Rio Daniela from Warriors Fan TV. We're going to have a look at the preview for the Warriors-Tigers clash. And we're also going to have a bit of a look back on the Raiders game as well. Probably give him ask his thoughts on the Raiders game. Have a look at the season as a whole. Give our overall thoughts on the season as a whole and how it's been and why it's gone all wrong. But make sure you tune in for that one tomorrow afternoon, 4:30 Australia time, 6:30 New Zealand time. So tune in for the preview for the Warriors-Tigers clash with a special guest, Rio Daniela from Warriors Fan TV. And Jason is saying the Eels half is a good player. And what has happened to the Eels? Look, it's been a bit of a difficult season for the Eels, of course. They're not sitting in a good position, aren't they, this year? But they've got a new coach in Jason Rolls next season coming on board. And, of course, Moses was on fire throughout the Origin series as well. So quite interested to see how the Parramatta Eels respond in 2025. But, it looks like they're going to be in the running to get that wooden spoon now with the next couple of weeks of the season. And they're tricky games coming up for the Eels as a whole. But we'll look at the team list. Well, we've looked at the team list. We'll actually look at the games coming up. So I'm going to give my NRL tips for round 21. So, guys, put in your tips in the live chat who you're tipping for each game. And, if you got any questions, we've got 14 viewers here at the moment. So please like the live stream if you haven't done so already. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel. It all helps the algorithm of the channel, gets the channel to grow. We are at the moment, the channel, we want to try and get to 3K subscribers. So, help the channel out. Subscribe to the channel, like the live stream, and share the live stream around. But if you got any questions footy related, feel free to put them into the live chat, and I'll also answer those questions in the chat down below in the live chat as well. But so Tahi Bros is saying here, CHT will get plenty of practice at kicking this week. We don't know when the last practice session was prior to being thrown in the deep end of that last game. Yeah, definitely. That I'm sure he will be goal kicking practicing this week as well. And look, the comments he copped weren't really needed, right? They were not on. And yes, obviously disappointing, frustrating. I was just frustrated with the missed kicks, but the guy's only human, right? He's only human. And we make mistakes. Yes, I know he's a paid first grader. He's a professional. He should be getting the kicks. But look, the comments personal towards him weren't warranted. They weren't needed, and look, I think he will definitely be better this week. I think he'll definitely be better. He'll learn from it for sure. But yeah, my tips for the games. So Warriors West Tigers, guys. Look, for me, obviously I'm going to back the boys in here. I'm going to go Warriors to win this game, and look, I say Warriors by 16 points. I reckon we will definitely win this, and we'll win it well enough to get the result and get the win, and bounce back from that Raiders game. And I'll go Warriors by 16. I think we can put enough points on the board, but the Tigers will definitely be a bit competitive in this game throughout the start. So I'll say first try scorer. First try scorer we'll go with Ali Liatawa, first try scorer. Anytime try scorer we'll say Jareem Buller and Charlie Staines for the Tigers for me. But Warriors to win, guys. And I think I've got to back the boys in, right? I've got to back us to get the win there. Ryan's also saying here Warriors by 12. And Jason's saying love to see a solid 80 minutes. Sometimes a game of two halves. Yeah, and that's been a problem this year when you look at our form at home this season as well. And I hate to remind everyone, but of course the Sharks game in round 1 is a prime example. The Melbourne game as well. We started off pretty well, and then we fell off a cliff, right? So hopefully we don't see that again. Hopefully we can start well, and then we can go on with the job. But obviously that's been a problem throughout the season in games. We've started off pretty decently, and then we've slacked off. But hopefully that's not the case on Friday. On Friday night at 6 p.m. Australia time for me. So yeah. But yeah, so look, the next Friday night game. So there's actually 2 Friday night games this week. So the second Friday night game is the one at 8 p.m. Australia time. So that'll be around about 10 p.m. New Zealand time. So that sees the Parramatta Eagles taking on the Melbourne Storm. This game has been played at Combat Stadium, home of the Eels here. So just looking at the teams before I go through my predictions. So Eels, so Bryce Cartwright, Sean Lane named to start after coming off the bench against the Titans, and Joey Lussick and Makasoi Makatoa have been added to the bench. Sean Russell is on the wing, and Lorenzo Mulitalo, Matt Arthur, Matt Dorr, and Charlie Garner are all out of the side. Storm, Cameron Munster has actually been named in the reserve, so really interesting there. Will Cameron Munster play in this game? That is the big question. But if he does, it is a massive in for the Storm at this point of the season, because you look at the finals coming up, and of course the Storm are trying to wrap up the minor premiership in the next couple of weeks. So Cameron Munster's been named in the reserves. Whether he plays or not, I probably doubt it. But it'll be interesting to see if he does get called into the side as a late starter. Christian Welsh is got a back injury, and Nelson Solomona, who has a hamstring injury, are returning after missing the Roosters game as well. And for me, looking at this game, I think it's pretty much straightforward. If you look at the Storm, great win over the Roosters at home last week. Melbourne, man, they are the benchmark team of the competition. They're sitting on top of the NRL ladder. They've only had 3 losses this year. They've got 14 wins. They've had 3 byes. They're sitting on 34 points. Pretty much sitting pretty well comfortable in terms of the minor premiership at the moment. And I think they will go on to win the minor premiership at the end of the 2024 season. So I'm actually going to go with the Melbourne Storm, and this is an easy one for me. Yeah, Melbourne will win well. I'm going to go with the Melbourne Storm by 13 plus. I'm going to go with Melbourne by 20 points. First try scorer, I'm going to go with Jack Howarth. Anytime try scorer, I'm going to go with Nick Meaney. And for the Eels, I'm going to say Will Palacini for me. The Storm will be just too strong, right? The Storm, for me, if you look at who's going to be in the grand final right now, I am probably going to say it's going to be a Melbourne-Penrith grand final, just based on form, based on the two teams at the moment. And look, I can't wait when the Panthers and the Storm play, because I am very interested to see how these two teams will line up before the finals series. So, look, I think the Storm will be just way too strong. The Eels are in Bali mode at the moment. They're on holiday. They don't care about the season. The season's done for them, and the Storm will just be too strong, right? But yeah, look, it'll be Melbourne too good for me. And you look at Melbourne, yes, they've played all right in their games, but we have yet to see the best of Melbourne. And I'm sure we'll see that back into the season and going into the finals for me at the moment. And look, I think Melbourne Penrith grand final, it looks very likely at this stage. And Jason's saying yes, Storm 44-12. Yeah, would not be surprised if that's a scoreline that'll happen. And Tahi Bros is saying Munster will probably get a short stint. Yeah, he probably will get a short stint, Tahi Bro. I'm going to say it's probably likely. Whether you risk it or not, is a big question. I personally don't think you'd risk it right now, but, Storm are in a good position on the ladder. So we'll see if Craig does actually play him on Friday night. But, yeah, obviously he'll probably have to go through a few training sessions, some captain sessions, some tests, some fitness tests. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. But if he does play poor Eels, it's going to be a real struggle, nonetheless, regardless if he plays or not. But, yeah, Storm will be too strong. They'll be way too strong. And now on to Saturday games now. So Saturday sees the Broncos. The Brisbane Broncos taking on the Bulldogs, the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. This game has been played at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. It's a 3 p.m. kickoff. So a rare 3 p.m. kickoff here in Australia. So it's not a Friday night for the Broncos, which we don't often see. We always see a Broncos on a Friday night. This game is a rare 3 p.m. afternoon kickoff. So that'll be like 5 p.m. here in Australia. 5 p.m. in New Zealand, and 3 p.m. in Australia. So, yeah, the Broncos obviously had a good win over the Knights last week. Reynolds, Walsh was on fire. Reynolds with his kicking game, really played a part. For the Dogs, obviously going down to the Cowboys down there in Townsville last week in a very close game. This is a huge game. This is a really important game for both these teams. If you look at the ladder at the moment, the Broncos currently sit in 11th spot on the ladder. The Bulldogs currently sit in 6th spot on the ladder. So if you look at it from this point of view, that the Broncos need to get the win here at home, and the Dogs are looking to bounce back and climb back up into 5th spot on the ladder. Maybe at least get themselves in contention for a top 4 spot as well. So I'm actually going to tip the Broncos to win this game. I think they will win it. You know what? If you look at the team list, just look at the team list before I go any further. The Broncos do welcome Selwyn Cobbo back. Selwyn Cobbo is back from a groin injury, and Corey Oates goes to 80th man. Kobe Harrington is in the starting lineup ahead of Brendan Piakura. And Black Moses is on the bench with the Bulldogs. Only one change with Lepai Hopai joining the bench. And Drew Hutchinson's been named in the reserves, so he returns from a hamstring injury. This game is very difficult to call. I'm going to say Broncos at home here. Look, I think Walsh will have another big one. I'm going to say first try score We'll go with, actually, the Dogs will score first for Stephen Cronin, and anytime try score, we'll go with, we'll go with Selwyn Cobbo anytime, Dean Mariner anytime, and I think the Broncos will just get the win here. I'm going to go Broncos by 8. Yeah, Broncos by 8 for me, and I think it'll be very close. And I think they'll just get the win. And it's a tough one to call exactly right, Tahi, bro. And Jason's actually saying 32-14 to the Broncos. He's actually going with a big score there, which is interesting. Hello to Michael in the chat. And yeah, pump the likes. Everyone, like the live stream if you haven't done so. Share the live stream. And please, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well if you haven't done so already. But yeah, I just feel like the Broncos will win. They need to keep winning their games. It's an important one for them. And yeah, they'll be both these teams will want to win, of course. But the Broncos, I think, will be probably more of the desperate side, all things considered. That the Dogs would still miss out on the 8 as well if you look at how close the ladder is at the moment. So yeah, I'll go Broncos. I'm not 100% confident, even though they did beat the Knights last week. The Dogs are going to be a lot more of a tougher test for the Broncos than what the Knights were. But look, I'm expecting a really tough, hard game. And the Broncos just to edge it for me. Just to edge it. But yeah, Jason's saying here, Dean Mariner's on form. Yeah, he's been playing great. Ryan's also saying, I think low-scoring Bulldogs always like the low-scoring games. They do. That's a good point there, Ryan. They do like a low-scoring game. You look at their defence this year, they've conceded the least amount of points. They're right up there with Penrith as well. So we'll not be surprised if they did win. It'd be low-scoring, of course. It wouldn't be high-scoring for the Dogs. We know that. They're not a high-scoring team, but, they can, they can strangle teams, the Bulldogs, right? And Rod's saying here 8-16 to the Broncos. And huge in with Reynolds. Yeah, and Reynolds was, an important part of the Broncos win last week against the Knights, man. If you look at the way he played, him and Walsh. Walsh is a completely different player when Adam Reynolds is in the team. So, we saw the best of Walsh. We saw the best of the Broncos against the Knights, albeit against the Knights who, let's be quite frank, the Knights are, have been average for the last couple of weeks anyway. So this is another test for the Broncos. If they do win it, maybe they are back in finals contention, but we shall see what happens there. Right, so this next game now. So we've got the second, I think it's the second, no, it's actually the second game. Yeah, it is the second game of Super Saturday footy. So we've got the first game out of the way on Saturday. Now it's the Cowboys taking on the Sharks. Another really good game, actually. Really good game. It's down there at Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. Man, this is a massive one because if the Cowboys can continue to get wins at this point of the season, they are pushing themselves for a top 4 finish, right? So the draw isn't too bad. It's not a bad draw to end the season. And they're at home again, so this is another opportunity against the Sharks team who, have, at this point of the season, you look at the ladder, they're sitting in the top 4, right? Where are they sitting? They're third. They're third with 11 wins, six losses, and they've had 3 byes in between as well. So if you look at it at this point, the Cowboys sit 8th on the ladder, so they win this game, they could jump up a few positions on the ladder right here. So another difficult game to call, actually. Another real tough game to tip. Just looking at the team list before I go through my predictions for this one. So Jackson Peru is named to start at centre. So young Jackson Peru last week. It was in the side and he was in the centres. And Val Holmes is on the wing. So that's the only change for the Cowboys. And Murray Taulungi's been named in the reserve, so he returns from a hamstring injury. For the Sharks, there's actually a debutant, Liam Eason. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong, but Liam Eason makes his NRL debut. At fullback, William Kennedy is out with suspension, so that's a bit of a blow there, but we get to see another young player make their debut. Talakai returns on the bench from a 1-game suspension there for the Sharks. This is a tough one to call, man. I need a bit of a think about this one, but guys, let me know in the chat who you're tipping for the Sharks and Cowboys game because I think this is a really tricky one to call. Now, look, Cowboys at home, in reality would say that you'd pick the Cowboys, but the Sharks themselves, man, they need to show a bit of consistency, right? Yes, they're sitting in the top 4, but if you look at their performances, they haven't quite shown that they look like a top 4 side, in my opinion. And yes, they are in the top 4, but if you look at their form, they did win last time out at home before the bye. But yeah, I don't know what to get a read on the Sharks. In personal opinion, I think they're a team that's battling to be up there in the finals, be in the top four, or at least finish near fifth or sixth, in my opinion. But whether they can do any damage in the finals is a big question mark. I'm not too sure on that one. But yeah, look, tough game to pick. And Jackson's saying here that the Sharks towards need to step up in picking the Cowboys 22-18. And Tahi Brose's ref tried to get the way a lot these days. They do. It's inconsistency, which I'm probably not going to go on about because I'll be ranting all stream. Williams saying the Cowboys have never been the Sharks at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. That's an interesting stat. And Ryan is saying here, does anyone else think the Kennedy suspension was a joke or was it just me? Yeah, I'm not. I don't think it was a suspension, Ryan. I absolutely agree with you on that one. I really don't think it deserved a suspension. Tahi is also saying, haven't watched much Cup, so I don't know much about the fullback. Yeah, I don't really know too much about the young Sharks fullback either. But yes, it will be interesting to see how he goes. Full on Ryan positioning because yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a bit ridiculous, isn't it? The inconsistency of the refereeing this year has been a joke, in my opinion. But yeah, this is a tough game to call, but I'll go with the Cowboys at home. Look, I feel like the Cowboys will take a lot from that win over the Dogs. But look, I'm not writing the Sharks off. I'm not writing the Sharks off to go down to Townsville and pick up a result there. But I think the Cowboys will just do enough. I'm going to go Cowboys by 4 points at least. I think it'll be another tight one and a close one for the Cowboys. And of course, the Cowboys themselves have got to keep winning in terms of, making the finals and pushing for a higher position on the ladder in terms of maybe making the top four as well. But yeah, I think the Cowboys will win this game at home. Look, if it was at Sharks Stadium, I probably would have gone with the Sharks here. But being in North Queensland at Queensland Country Bank, I'm going to go with the Cows. But look, the Sharks can't be written off. But I think Cows will just do enough for me. First try scorer, we'll say, we'll go with Tommy Dearden. Tommy Dearden's form has been outstanding the last couple of weeks, especially from Origin, and he backed that up from the Maroons game in Game 3 to last week against the Bulldogs as well. Tommy Dearden, man, his form has been outstanding, so I think he will back up and put in a big performance against the Sharks at home. So first try scorer, I'm going to lock in Tommy Dearden anytime. We'll go with Sione Katoa for the Sharks, Ronaldo Mulitalo, and I'm going to say for the Cowboys anytime, we'll go with Jeremiah Nanai in the second row there for the Cowboys. Now, the last game on Saturday night, so this is the 7:35 p.m. kickoff between the Sydney Roosters taking on the Manly Seagulls. Now, this is also a massive game in terms of the NRL ladder. Now, this game is actually a game for the top four. The Roosters sit in fifth, and the Sydney Roosters sit in fourth. Manly sit in fifth on the ladder. So the winner of this game will jump into the top four. Obviously, the Roosters win this, they stay in the top four. Manly win this, they will go up to fourth on the ladder. So looking at the team list for this game, so look at any changes. So the Roosters have stuck with the same 17-man squad that went down to the Storm last week. Lindsay, Collins, and Spencer Lenu are named to start after coming off the bench against Melbourne. As for the Seagulls, there is no Lehigh Hopawate as he has an eye socket, and Tommy Talau pushes out to the wing with Ben Trebojevic moving to the centres. Corey Riddell comes into the back line, and Tania Paseka is named to start at prop, and he's returning from injury after returning from injury last week off the bench. So, and Tafawa Simply, former Warrior, is on the bench there for the Seagulls. Well, this game is played at the Allianz Stadium in Sydney. So, yeah, another tricky game. Another tricky game to call here because Roosters last week against the Storm, man, I thought there'd be a lot more competitive in that matchup. I thought that it would be a lot more of a closer game. I didn't expect the Roosters to be simply outplayed like that against Melbourne. I thought it was going to be a really close game. It didn't turn out to be the case. They got simply outplayed by the Storm down there at Amy Park in Melbourne. Seagulls, man, good win at home last week against the Titans. The Titans got off to a good start there. We're out to an 8-0 lead. And then the Seagulls pushed on in that second half at home to get the victory to move up on the ladder. So, look, I do like the looks of what the Seagulls are doing at the moment. I'm really am being impressed with their form and performances throughout this year, actually. It's not through just one game. I think this season as a whole to be sitting near the top 8 at this point of the year has been a good showing for Manly. Obviously, they're still not quite safe in terms of making the finals. But look, if they can win this game against a really high-quality Roosters side, then suddenly you got to believe that they're a top 4 side. But if they can't beat the Roosters, look, I think they'll still at least make the finals, finish around 5th to 6th on the ladder at this point of the season. But look, this game for me is probably like a flip of a coin. I do look at the Roosters lineup, and I will say the Roosters probably have the quality on show there. They've got Tedesco, Tupou, Suali'i. You've got Young there. You've got Luke Keary and Walker. Tupanua in the centres. Not a big fan of that, to be quite honest, for the Roosters there. I'm not too sure whether they got any more options in terms of a centre there, but it's a bit odd that Saliti Tupanua's in the centres. I think he's more of a forward. Maybe it's the fact that maybe the Roosters don't have any other options there as a whole. Ryan, just going through the chat, guys. So just going through the chat. Ryan's also saying I'm on Cowboys, but should be close. Sharks will be better next year with Adam Fanua-Blake. I definitely will be better with Adam Fanua-Blake in the side. Obviously, as a Warriors fan, gutted that he is going over to the Sharks next year. But, obviously we've got Fisher Harris coming to the side. But Tay's saying counts for me, but hard to call. 6 more tackles gets me. Changes a lot with the refs. Yeah, look, I don't need to go on about the 6 again, man, because I'm not a fan of it as a whole either. I do agree with you on that one. And 100% many times I ask why. Hello to Jason Reed in the chat. Good to see you in the chat. Hope you're doing well. He's saying up the Roosters. Should be a close game. Definitely should be. It should be a great competitive match between you guys and the Seagulls. So good luck to you and your side there. I've got the Chooks. So I don't let them pass. The Roosters will be hurting, but Manly will play 80 minutes. Roosters by 8, 24-16 to the Roosters. Says Jason. And Ryan's saying here, I think the Roosters should bounce back after the Storm game. And Tahi's saying here that it's a hard game for sure to call. Yeah, absolutely it is. But oh man, look, I'm actually going to tip an upset. I'm going to go with Manly here. I'm going to go with the Seagulls. I've gone with a lot of favourites to kickstart this round. So I'm actually going to go in a different direction with my tips. For this game, I'm going to actually go with an upset. I think Manly can do it. I like the looks of Manly. Roosters, look, I no doubt about it, they will be hurting from last week's result. We'll expect to see a lot of a better, improved Roosters performance this week at home. But I think Manly can go down there and do an upset over the Roosters. I think Manly can do it. I'm going to tip Manly, actually, guys. I'm going to tip Manly. I'm going to do it. I think Manly can get this win. I know some people might think this is a bold call, but I think Manly can do it. I think they can. I think they've got the team to take it to the Roosters. This will be a big challenge for the Manly Seagulls as a whole to take on a more highly fancied Roosters team, but I think they can get the win. So I'm going to go Manly by 4. And Manly can do it. First try score, I'm going to say the Roosters will score first, though, but I'm going to say that Daniel Tupou for the Roosters will be the first try scorer. Anytime we'll say Ruben Garrick for Seagulls, Jason Sub, and why not back in the forward, Taniela Paseka in the forwards for the Seagulls there. But look, I'm going to back the Seagulls in. I think they can do it. I think they can get the win. But yes, on to Sunday now. So Sunday footy sees the St George Illawarra Dragons taking on the Penrith Panthers. Now, just looking at it, this game's actually been played at Wynn Stadium in the Gong there. This is a game that the Dragons also need to win. The Dragons currently sit, surprisingly, in 9th position on the ladder. Can you believe the Dragons are doing this well? They've got 9 wins, 8 losses. They're on 24 points currently. And if they win this game, they could jump into the top 8 as well. So this is also a must-win game for the Dragons. But they're coming up against the Panthers who are coming off a cracking win over the Dolphins last week. And you saw what Nathan Cleary can do. And, he kicked an amazing field goal against the Dolphins on return, his first game back from injury in over a long, long time. But, man, if you look at this game, the Dragons, man, this is a bit of a tough game for the Dragons to come up against the Penrith side here. And I look at the Dragons and I think to myself, how are they sitting in 9th spot right now? It just really surprised me at this point of the season. But yeah, for me, look, Penrith should win this game. I look at the Dragons and who they've got back. So they've got Zach Lomax. He's returning, as well as Ben Hunt. Ravalawa's back as well. Jesse Maskey makes way to the wild back row. Raymond Fatala-Mariner is back. And Luciano Leilua is returning to the bench with Jack Bird, 18th man. So Origin trio, Jerome Loy, Liam Martin, Isaiah and Brian Toa are also back after being rested in round 20. Still no Dylan Edwards. So Dylan Edwards still remains sidelined with that knee injury. But they've got Dane Laurie there. So he's not a bad player to have at that fullback spot for me. But looking at the Dragons here, I think this is going to be a tall order, to be quite honest. They're doing all right, sitting 9th at the moment on the ladder, but this is going to be a tricky ask for them against this Penrith side. And I think Penrith will win the 13 plus for me. I just don't see the Dragons, having a shot here against Penrith. I really don't. I think it'll be too damn difficult. Look, I'm going to go Panthers by 26 points. I think they'll put on a bit of a points fest over the Dragons. The Dragons will start well, but I think Penrith will just have way too much class for this Dragons side. So, first try score, we'll go with Brian To'o. Anytime, we'll go with Isaac Tago. And we'll go Taruva as well, Sinia Taruva, who's got a knack of scoring tries for Penrith this year. For the Dragons, look, an anytime try scorer, I'll probably put in a Zach Lomax or Moses Suali'i as well for the Dragons. But yeah, Penrith will be too strong and they will get the job done. And Jackson's just saying here, Panthers 42-4-12 might be a 50-point game. Penrith too fast around the rough and will tire out the Dragons. Yeah, they definitely will. The likes of Nathan Cleary's with his kicking game, and he's also got the forwards as well as the outside backs for Penrith. Those should be too good and too strong for the Dragons as a whole. Tahi Bro saying pretty strong roster for the Dragons. They have to learn to harden up, yeah, and that is true. That is true. And they're doing all right, but look, this is probably not a game that you want to be playing this week. If this is not a fixture that they would probably want when they look at the fixtures at the start of the weekend, coming up against this Penrith side, who are coming off a win over the Dolphins at home. Well, a comeback win of that sorts. But speaking of the Dolphins, this is the last game of the... Actually, no, it's not the last game of the round. There's actually 3 games on the Sunday. Again, there's 3 games on the Sunday. So this is actually the 4 o'clock game on Sunday. It's the Channel 9 game in Australia. So Channel 9, Foxtel, KO in Australia, Sky Sports in New Zealand. So it's on at 4 o'clock. So that'll be like 6:05 p.m. New Zealand time, 4:05 here in Australia. Speaking of the Dolphins, they're taking on the Gold Coast Titans. This game has been played at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. So the Dolphins, man, unlucky last week against Penrith, man. If you look at how much of an effort they showed against the Panthers, they played very well. The Hammer was on fire as well. What a performance by the Hammer in a losing effort. Nonetheless, they had a pretty good lead against the Panthers. And, yeah, it's a shame they probably couldn't get the win there. But look, for the Titans, obviously they've shown some improvement here at the back end of the season. But they got off to a decent start against the Seagulls, but against the in the second half against the Seagulls, they they got simply outdone, didn't they? So yeah, in regards to this game, you look at the team list. So Wayne Bitt's gone with the same 17, so no changes to the Dolphins lineup. And same with Des Hazard with the Titans. He has gone with the same team. Still no AJ Brimson as well. He is still recovering from that groin injury. So, look, I'm going to go with the Dolphins here. And I reckon the Dolphins will get the win. Look, I'm going to go with Dolphins by 12 points. First try scorer will say the Hammer. And anytime we'll go with Tavita Pengai Jr. anytime. Why not? Throwing Tavita Pengai Jr. And also for the Titans, anytime try scorer, we'll go with Alofe Khan Pereira. He's well up there in the NRL try scorers list as well this year, so I think he will add to his try scoring tally for the year. But the Dolphins, man, they will win this game. They will bounce back from that loss to the Panthers. And they're still not safe for finals as well. So they're going to have to keep getting a few wins to make sure their spot on the ladder and featuring the finals in the second year in the competition, which will be a huge effort nonetheless if Wayne can get the Dolphins up there. But yeah, look, I think they'll win. They'll definitely win this game. Now to the next game is the Canberra Raiders taking on the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Now this is definitely a game, last game of the round. So this is at 6:15 p.m. kickoff. Another 6 p.m. kickoff again. Not a big fan of these kickoff times. I'm not going to lie, but look, it is what it is. Just not a big fan of it as a whole. Yeah, I don't know why they do it. Why do they do it? That's the big question here. But yeah. So just going through your comments just quickly before I get into my tips. So for this last game and then wrap up the stream. So Michael Mendoza's saying here, well, who are you picking will back the other team? Tahi bro and Jason saying here, Dolphins by 2. This game could get the golden point. Herbie Farm will have a big game. 18-16 to the Dolphins. Not a bad prediction. Ryan's saying I think it may be close. Dolphins at full squad and Finns to win. And Greg is saying here that the Finns will win 32-23. Ryan was also saying here that Dolphins always have good starts, then fall off in the second half. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why that's the case. I just don't understand that either as a whole. It's like us when we start decent at home. We always start decent at home, Warriors, and then we fall off, right? So yeah, it's a bit strange, isn't it? But yeah, look, Raiders and South Sydney Rabbitohs. This game's been played at GIO Stadium in Canberra. So looking at the team list, the Green Machine are going with 1-17 unchanged. So the Rabbitohs just one change with Micah Cheekham moving to the centres to replace Richie Kenner. He's got a head knock. And Jacob Host comes into the back row for this one. Looking at it here, look, the Raiders obviously coming off that win over our boys, the Warriors, last week. The Raiders themselves, where are they sitting at the moment? Well, they're sitting in 10th. The Rabbitohs are sitting in 12th. Look, I think the Raiders pretty much have got way more to play for in terms of trying to make the final, so they've got to get a win in this one. The Rabbitohs, well, look, their season's pretty much done. A couple of weeks ago when their winning streak got broken, so I think the Raiders will win this one at home. First try scorer, we'll say Xavier Savage first try scorer anytime. We'll go with Joseph Tarpanay anytime. For the Rabbitohs, we'll go with Alex Johnston anytime as well. But I think the Raiders will get the win here at home down there in Canberra, and a must-win game for them in terms of trying to get into the top 8 at the end of the season. But those are my tips, guys. So just go through my tips again for those of you who have just tuned in and missed my tips. So, of course, Warriors versus the Tigers. I'm going with the Warriors win there, 1-12. Parramatta Eels versus the Melbourne Storm. I've gone with the Melbourne Storm, 13+. The Broncos versus the Bulldogs. I've gone with the Broncos, 1-12. North Queensland Cowboys versus the Sharks. I've gone with the North Queensland Cowboys, 1-12. Sydney Roosters versus the Manly Seagulls. I'm going with an upset. I'm going with the Manly Seagulls, 1-12. The Dragons and the Panthers. Panthers will be way too strong. I'm going with Panthers 13+. The Dolphins and the Titans. I've gone with the Dolphins there by 1-12. And the Raiders versus the Rabbitohs. I'm going with the Raiders 1-12 there for my tips. But those are my tips, everyone. Just a quick one as well. The NRLW just also kick off this weekend as well with the Women's Premiership getting underway. Of course, you've got it all starts in round 1 with the first game on the Thursday night, the 25th of July. Since the Newcastle Knights versus the Roosters. So we'll go through my NRL Women's Premiership tips for those games. So yeah, guys, tune in for that. The NRL Women's Premiership should be a good one. Obviously, the Warriors are coming into the competition in 2025. So yeah, do tune into the Women's Rugby League comp. It is a great competition, good quality comp. And these girls, man, they are, they're athletes, right? And it's great competition to watch. I think Women's Rugby League is growing, and it's only getting better as well when you look at the Women's Origin, which was a great series as well. So just my tips for the NRLW before I end the stream, before I end the show. So just quickly, I'll go through it. Just my pick, my margin. So Newcastle Knights versus the Roosters down there in Newcastle. Newcastle, of course, currently the back-to-back NRLW premiers. Actually, they won it 3 years in a row from my memory. So, yeah, I think they're 3-time premiers. But, of course, they've got a new coach here this year. Ronald Griffiths is not there anymore. He's coaching the New South Wales Cup team, but he's also going to be coaching our women's team in 2025 as well. So that's a massive cork for the Warriors NRLW team. Roosters versus the Knights. We'll go with the Knights here. We'll go Knights by 4. Sharks v Cowboys on Saturday, the 27th of July, down at PointsBet Stadium. Cowboys in their second year in the NRLW competition, and the Sharks as well in their second year in the comp. I'm going to go with the Sharks at home in Sydney there. We'll go with the Sharks by 10 points over the Cowboys in the NRLW. The Saturday game, so you got the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Parramatta Eels at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. I'm going to go with the Broncos girls to get the win over the Eels. And I'll go with the Broncos probably by 12. Dragons versus the Gold Coast Titans down at Wollongong Stadium. I'm actually going to go with the Titans here. I am cheering for the Titans in the NRLW this season before the Warriors come into the comp next season. So I'm going to go with the Titans NRLW team to get the win over the Dragons in an upset down there in the Gong. We'll go with the Titans by 4 over the Dragons. And the Tigers versus the Raiders on Sunday, the 28th of July, down there at Campbelltown Stadium in Sydney. I'm going to go with the West Tigers to win that game we'll go with the West Tigers by 10. Well, actually, no, we'll go with them by 12. We'll go with them by 12 there. But, guys, that wraps it up. Tahi Bro saying, great show, Christian. Like the stream, everyone. Absolutely like the stream. Nice NRLW. Yeah, it should be a good one. But, guys, that is it for me. Thanks for watching the show, guys. Make sure you like the live stream if you haven't done so already. Please click that thumbs up button. And also, yeah, don't forget, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hello to Richard in the chat. Good to see you in the chat as well. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Please like the live stream. Click that thumbs up button. Please give this video and live stream a like. And if you are a new viewer and a returning viewer to the channel, don't forget to make sure you click that subscribe button. Click that subscribe button. Subscribing to the channel is absolutely free. It helps the channel to grow, helps the algorithm of the channel. It gets the channel, gets the numbers up, gets the word out about all the content as well, and it all really helps, guys, as well. So if you got an account on Gmail and you're watching it, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and help the channel to get to 3K subscribers, because we're trying to get to 3K by the end of the 2024 season. But yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy the footy, everyone. Enjoy the footy this weekend. Up the Wars. Please join me again tomorrow afternoon, evening. I've got a special guest, Rio from Warriors Fan TV. We're going to preview the Warriors-Tigers game, have a look at the season as a whole, and we're going to chat about the Tigers game coming up. And also, tune in for that one. It'll be 4:30 Australia time, 6:30 New Zealand time for a preview for the Tigers game. And we'll hear our predictions and our thoughts, and have a chat about why we think the season has gone so wrong for the Warriors, and you have a look at all the other stuff as well as a whole. And look at the general stuff around the Warriors at the moment. But good luck to our athletes as well. Shout out to our athletes in the Olympics. Good luck to all the New Zealand athletes in the Olympic Games down there in Paris. Good luck to all of them. All the best to our athletes. Go well. Do the country proud. Best of luck to all the New Zealand athletes representing in the Olympics this week and over the coming weeks as well. So a massive shout out to all our New Zealand athletes. Jazz. Hello to Jazz saying up the Wars. And NRW starts this week. It does start on Thursday, Richard. So if you are wondering how to watch it, it'll be on Sky Sports, I think, in New Zealand there. But here in Australia, Channel 9, 9 Now, KO and Foxtel for those of you who want to watch it here in Australia. But yeah, up the athletes, up the Wars. Thanks, guys, for watching. That wraps it up. And I will see you guys all tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening for another live stream. Like the live stream, subscribe to the channel. If you're a new viewer and you're a returning viewer, please hit that subscribe button. Like the live stream, click that thumbs up button. Have a good night, everyone. Have a good rest of the evening. And go tune into Wise Up TV, All You Can Eat Warriors show. Go and watch them. And Ash and Wise Up are doing a show. I think it's 6 p.m. Australia time, so that'll be real soon over in New Zealand. So go and check out those guys' content as well. Go give them some love and some support. And they're leading the way in the content world for Warriors fans at the moment. So please give them a watch. But cheers. Have a good one, everyone. Up the Wires. Go the Warriors. Good luck to everyone's teams this weekend. Except the Tigers. But have a good one. And we'll see you all later. Cheers. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks for watching.